Well, let's talk about a little bit about this, because you and I have never, I don't know if we've ever really met before, maybe met in passing at some point, but one of the reasons I decided to try to do this a little bit is really looking for a way for how can I help? And one of my passions has been going to shows, and I couldn't even begin to tell you how many shows I've seen at Proctor's over the years. Um, so I thought I would share my passion for that and reach out to some folks. Speaking with Bob Belber at the Times Union Center, I wanted to talk to you because I've heard so many great things about you over the years and know how much you put into that theater. Um, so I've done this thing on Facebook Live, and it's goofy. I pull out my guitar, I play some songs, I pull out my several bags of tickets and just start talking about different shows that I've seen over the years. So this whole Ticket Tuesday thing started, and that kind of brings me to you in one of the great theaters in this area. It started in 1912, right? It was a vaudeville house first, Frederick Proctor.
1926.
1926. Okay, so
yeah, it was actually built at a funny time because, it was a vaudeville house, but movies were just starting to become talkings. And there were things designed, and this is true for a lot of buildings in the middle, late 20s that were built then. There were things designed for theater use that were never built because the owner, Proctor, F.F. Proctor, kind of went, these movies might make it. Maybe I should save those pennies and not do that crossover or not do this piece of steel or whatever. And largely that was true because by the 30s, it was mostly movies.
Okay. And how did you get into the business? You've been there a long time now, and I'm not sure on your history. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm 65, and I've been doing this since I was 16. I built and managed shows in the summer at school, in high school. I was a chorister. I ran the music department at Hamilton College. I ran the listening lab and kept up with the equipment and managed the music lending library. It was all vinyl. Took a choir to Britain, did all kinds of arts administration stuff without really knowing it. And when I was graduated, all my friends were going to law school, and I didn't want to do that. So I kind of went, geez, I like this art stuff. I wonder if there's a job here. And actually, I found out there was a profession. So I applied for a job in Western New York, got it, and was there for 25 years before coming to this perspective.
I mentioned to you that, the reason this started is one, I kind of felt this overwhelming sense lately of how can I help? How can I be a part? How can I share some experiences? And one of the things I had done was started this Ticket Tuesday just for a lot of my friends on Facebook and go on live and talk about my bags of tickets. And I've certainly got enough Proctor's tickets from over the years and certainly enough memories. I mean, both of my daughters graduated on the stage at Proctor's.
Sure.
And what a thrill that is to watch them walk across the stage there. And one of the reasons...
Hey, and we're doing 2 graduations anyway. We're doing them virtually. So
that's fantastic.
The superintendents and the valedictorian, salutatorian are all going to speak, and there'll be music, and it's all recorded and pulled together on the safe stage. And, it's a virtual graduation. It's not the same thing.
But it's connectivity. But
it's still shot and done at Proctor's.
And, my experience at Proctor's beyond my daughter's graduation, I mean, we've worked with the Women of Excellence at the Chamber of Commerce for the last few years, and you were gracious enough to let us come and film our sponsor videos on the stage. And I think that was the first time I'd ever been on the stage a few years ago when we first started doing that. And it's such a great experience just looking out at the seats from the other way.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
really
such a beautiful, beautiful building. You guys have done an amazing job there. And I had other experiences that I wound up grabbing out, and I told you I've got the tickets to prove it. So
good.
I've got this one from 2004, Buddy Guy, March 19th, 2004.
Oh, I remember that concert.
That was the first time I took my oldest daughter, who just turned 21, to see a concert. So she came with me to see Buddy Guy that night at Proctor's. The other one was back from 10 years ago, was Young Frankenstein, which I thought was just a brilliant execution of one of my favorite movies of all time. And I've seen Phantom of the Opera. I've seen Steve Winwood, Heart. Um, I had I can't even count all the different things that I've been. I have to go through and remember these things by holding on to my tickets and get that tactile thing.
Well, good for you. I'm one of those people that never saved a thing. But my daughter, who's now 33, has saved every playbill from everything she's ever gone to. So she's one of those people that's got, you know, piles of playbills from New York, from Proctors, from where we lived in Jamestown, New York before. It's pretty funny.
So tell me about tell me a couple of your favorite experiences with shows or events at the theater.
But man, we've had some pretty amazing stories. You know, we had the gentleman from the Cleveland Zoo. Can I think of his name? I'll think of it in a second. Who brought many animals to the stage? He's come a couple of times. He's really terrific. And the tiger's cage. He needed to sleep with the tiger, and the tiger. And they had a room at the Parker Inn
With the tiger.
and with the tiger, and the tiger's cage didn't fit in the elevator. So one of our production guys witnessed the guy go in the elevator with the tiger, and the doors closed.
Oh God.
And he went up to whatever floor and got the tiger out. And I you know, I think about that. I didn't witness it, but I think about it many times. So right, pretty amazing. You'd never expect to witness sort of thing. Of course, most of our shocking events have to do with building management, right? Just
Right.
Lucking out sometimes when a near disaster is imminent. Probably the funniest of those was an accidental fire alarm that we didn't realize. It was during a performance of Spamilton, not
Spamalot.
Spamalot.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, it's wild and crazy, the show, and the fire alarm is running, and no one's leaving the theater, and the fire curtain comes down, and no one's leaving the theater. At which point we realize it's a false alarm, but no one's left. Everyone's applauding because they think it's part of the show. Oh my God. I'll never forget that one.
Oh, thank God it wasn't real.
Right. Thank God it wasn't real. It was pretty amazing. We ended up stopping the show for 2 minutes to raise the fire curtain up, and, you know, but nobody left.
Oh.
It's pretty funny.
You know, it's funny, and I've said this a few times, is the arts do such a great thing for the community's mental health. It's something that help release steam, release energy, to get a laugh or enjoy a concert or whatever. It's just so important around the area. And that's why I'm so grateful for you to take a little time out of your schedule to talk with me about what's going on over at Proctor's.
Well, it's why we focus on education in kids, because kids' creative outlets, especially in the digital age, you know, many people will say, you know, doesn't the iPad and streaming and all of this hurt live performance? And actually, I think the opposite is true. You know, live performance has been competing against electronic versions since the radio. Anybody who thinks listening on Spotify to a concert is the same as going to a concert probably hasn't been to one.
Right.
So, in a world where digital media, just what you're doing now with me, is exploding, young people need more and more skills to participate and do well, and they start all those skills live. You can't become a singer. You can't become a digital technician, to lighting. You know, at the end of the day, you have to have hands-on live understanding in order to go flat screened.
You bring
And
up.
many people want to be live anyway, but even if they want to be flat screen, they got to start there and then move.
Now, I'll watch comedians on TV now, like a Bill Maher. And Bill Maher without an audience is not the same show. Doing it this way, it's just not. You need that energy. You need
Yeah.
that excitement that comes along with having people in front of you. You're engaging people, and it's just a stunningly different perspective.
Well, it's about a shared experience. And on television, you don't really know who's sharing it. That's why they have laugh tracks.
Right.
On these webinars, you don't know who's sharing it. You might see 9 or 12 people on the screen and get their reactions, but that's not telling you what's going on.
Right.
And when you're in the theater, you know what's going on.
If
I
someone
remember,
misses their line, misses a mark or a chord or you name it.
well, the audience too. Like I remember going to see Frozen the first time in New York. Beautiful production and stuff. Not my own personal cup of tea. Fabulous show, though. I mean, but I was there as much as because I'm of bringing it to Proctors as it was for my personal edification.
Sure.
But listening to the young people in the balcony who bought the less expensive seats, the balcony responded so differently than the first floor. And it was cool as hell to realize, oh my God, there are a whole bunch of 25-year-olds, 20-year-olds upstairs stomping their feet and hooting and loving this in a way that I wish I was upstairs with them. And so it's not just what the performer does, but it's what the audience feeds back and what you can learn and see as that feedback loop happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is part of the fun of going to a show. It's that human shared experience.
Yeah.
Well, Philip, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for doing it.
If there's anything I can do to help along the way, please ask. And
Well, thank you. And just keep talking about us.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Thank
Philip.
you.